On how to troubleshoot the LCEV board and batteries. So if you need to change batteries on this chair, it just kind of gives you a guide on how to do it and actually how to test things. So the first thing you're going to do is actually remove the cover. And there's 4 tabs on this cover to pull straight off. There's no screws, there's just tabs. So it's important to pull all 4 tabs and wiggle and lift, because a lot of people take 2 off and they break the cover. These covers break all the time, so just be careful removing it. So push all 4 tabs, wiggle and lift, and it comes straight off. So inside the cover you have 2 individual batteries, 12 volt and 12 volt, and they're connected together to make 24 volts, and we'll go through that in the next part of this video. So you have these foam inserts in here to keep the batteries from moving. So when you pull them out, put them inside the cover so you don't lose them. So I put them inside the cover, and then this one I can pull out, put it inside the cover too. And now I'm going to lift the 2 batteries out, and I just set them to the side here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to test the voltage on the batteries. So you want to test voltage on both batteries. So the way to do this is remove this harness here. So what I do is I put a screwdriver in here, I pull the little pin back, and I pull and lift, and it comes right out. So there's positive and negative, so red is positive, black is negative. I'm going to put my multimeter into the positive port, and then I'm going to just touch the top of this one so I'm not near the positive and if I don't arc anything. So I put it on there and I get 25.4 volts, which is perfect. Anything above 24 volts is perfect. 24.5, 24.6, 20. Because when you charge a chair, might have a little bit higher voltage, because after it charges, the voltage is not necessarily just 24 volts. So now I tested this. I know that I got power coming out of both batteries. Now, if I take a voltage reading and I get a weird voltage like 23.2, or the voltage is just lower than what it needs to be, what I do is remove all the terminals. And what you can do before you remove terminals is you can actually take a picture of where everything goes. And it gives you a good idea of where the harnesses go, and you can't make a mistake. But also inside the cover we have a sticker that actually shows you where the terminals go. So that does help you if you do forget. But take a picture, we recommend that, it makes it a lot easier. So now I got the terminals connected from the battery. So what I want to do is I want to test each battery individually. So what I do is I put my multimeter on there. I got 12.6 and 12.7. So the batteries are close, and that's perfect. So if you go to test batteries and you get a battery that's a different voltage, say a volt less or more, we recommend changing both batteries, because what happens is when you have one battery that's a lower voltage than the other battery, if you know anything about charging batteries on any product, even power chairs, any manufacturer, the more charged battery will charge quicker than the one that's dead. So the one that's dead will never ever get a full charge. So what happens is you deplete the life of both batteries, because you're never getting the full cycle of the battery that has a lower voltage. So I would just change both batteries to be safe. You know, there's no reason to change one. These are cheap batteries, they're not that expensive, so you're better off doing that. So now we check the voltage. Say we check the voltage and we get the right voltage coming out of the batteries, and the chair is still not working. You're hitting the switch and it's still not working. The next step is actually to remove this cover. And there's actually 5 screws in this cover, and I've already removed them for this video. But here's one of the screws. They look like this, and they have a star. So you need the Torx bit for this. And so what you do is you take all the screws out, and then you can lift the cover straight off. The cover only goes one way. So the curved high part of the cover goes towards the ports where you hook up the wires. So now I remove the cover. There's a circuit board in here. The battery terminal that we just pulled off connects to here. There's a fuse on this board, and the way you test the fuse is you can actually test continuity on a fuse. And what you want to do is set your meter to continuity. You want to remove the fuse, connect both leads to the end of the fuse, and test it, and you'll actually get a beep. If you don't get a beep, you know the fuse is bad. So if you need help with continuity testing, you can Google it, YouTube it. It will tell you how to test continuity. So 99% of the time that fuse does not trip. I mean, most of the time when there's a problem with the board, the fuse doesn't trip. And what you do is you just smell, and it's an old school kind of way to know if something's bad, but usually when this board is bad, you can actually physically smell it. When you open the box, you will smell it. So after you check all that, if you know you have a bad board and you can smell it, or you have a bad fuse, you can change the fuse. You could actually buy a new circuit board. We do sell the circuit board. And the circuit board's part number is, it's going to be 20.003.0107, and you can buy the replacement board for these. So after you're done testing the voltage and you know you have a bad board, you can actually change the board. So say you check the board and the board's not bad, and you're not, the chair is still not lifting. There's two cables that you pulled out when you took this thing apart. Number one goes to the actuator to lift the chair, and this is port number 3. So you got 1, 2, and 3. 3 is actually the cable. It's a spiral cable that goes to the back of the armrest. And on that spiral cable, what happens is people remove that cable to charge the chair. So a lot of times you'll have a bad spiral cable and the battery box will actually not be bad. So it's a good idea to know that. So that's usually what happens. Also, you do have a switch inside the armrest, and sometimes these do go bad, but it's very unusual unless you see this turned or something wrong with it. So you can actually check the switch too. You can check continuity on the switch if you want to. But this is a video on just how to change batteries and test batteries on the battery box. We'll have other troubleshooting videos for other problems. Thank you.